Save over 60%.
It is the drug that many thought only hardcore addicts used. Well, times have clearly changed, and so have the users. Teenagers are now getting hooked on heroin, and it's in communities you might never expect. And to kids you thought who may be immune from this kind of drug.
This is the type of story every parent should watch and consider talking about it with their kids. Ron Jones with this CBS 13 investigation.
It's nasty. It really is.
Black tar heroin, a nasty addiction. Usually associated with the drug culture of the 60s and 70s, heroin had the stigma of dark back alley shooting galleries of an older generation.
Easy money. I mean, that's the way I saw it, you know. That's what kind of got me into the whole game in the first place.
But it's making a huge comeback.
Some kids that you never expect would be using drugs.
Migrating from those back alleys, it's now standing on the doorsteps of some of the most affluent and unsuspecting neighborhoods in the Central Valley. Granite Bay, Folsom, El Dorado Hills, Rockland.
It's a nasty thing to depend on.
We're protecting this young man's identity, a heroin addict since 18 and former drug dealer. But he lives in one of those upscale communities.
I knew the money was good.
His target market?
Sad to say, I mean, I've sold heroin and needles also to 13, 14-year-old, you know, junior high school kids. I mean, it's that bad.
Middle school children are being introduced to a dirty old drug.
It's your normal kid that you see walking around in the mall or something.
Why?
People are now frequently switching from prescribed opiates to heroin.
Dr. Michael Gorman of Stanislaus County's Genesis program says it usually starts at home in mom and dad's medicine cabinet or with friends.
But the story is consistent: pills to heroin. That's almost, and for the young user, that's almost universal.
Oxycontin, a powerful pain-killing drug, is part of the same opiate family as heroin. It's been a drug of choice at teen parties.
I had some personal issues with family and stuff, and just kind of numb my pain.
Teens quickly get addicted. Many snort or smoke the drug for a more intense high. To help combat that, in 2010, OxyContin's maker reformulated the painkiller so that it was more difficult to crush and repurpose. That's when cops and counselors saw an unintended impact, a startling rise in heroin use.
Heroin was more available and in many cases cheaper.
And here's a stunning discovery. Heroin is actually more socially acceptable among teens today because they don't have to inject it. But snorting and smoking it may give too little high, too slow.
And so our concern is, those of us providers in the community, is that in another couple of years, we'll start seeing more of the people that have begun using needles to inject, because you get the biggest bang for your buck.
Heroin is spiking on the increase.
Sergeant Scott Harillo of the Rockland Police Department sees heroin arrests in his city going up from 2 to 18 in just the last 3 years. Even more disturbing, users are getting younger and more desperate.
Recently, it's been shifting more towards street drugs, such as heroin.
The timing coincides with Oxy's reformulation, and the evidence is right here in their booking room.
It is mendable. You can move it, you can bend it, break it, kind of like maybe a hard clay.
Someone came to me and, you know, I wouldn't deny them.
Why are young people, even as young as 13, 14, so attracted to it?
They see someone else doing it, and so they feel, hey, why don't I try it, type thing. You know?
This former dealer warns parents to especially watch out for their young daughters.
I have sold to some younger teenage girls, and, you know, they got heavily addicted to it, you know, within a couple of months. To me at the time, it wasn't about, you know, affecting someone else's life. It was about the money.
About making that quick cash, huh?
Heroin habits are expensive.
A month, probably close to $5,000.
And girls who can't afford the drug?
Sexual favors, everything that you said you'd never do, you will do eventually.
Well, the age of innocence is gone.
Thompson says the one way parents can combat this scourge is to get their heads out of the sand and be proactive.
Honest dialogue is just the key before they're exposed.
Once you realize all the things you've lost, all the people you've loved, all the hurt and all the guilt that you have, it really builds up. That's what it took me for to get over it.
He's finally going through rehab, but he still feels that black tar demon is trying to drag him along on one more ride.
You're either going to end up in a box or you're going to have an addiction for the rest of your life.
Wow, that is sobering information right there.
It sure is.
Especially for any parent out there. So we have more information about opiates and heroin on our website if you want to check it out.
And you can go to CBSSacramento.com. You can click on the story. You can find links and information on how to find help for you and your teenager if you should need it. David?
All right, Sam, some summer-type sizzle is